In the village of Tamora, there was a woman named Naima. She was as poor as the dusty ground beneath her feet. Her clothes were mere scraps, full of holes and tears, barely covering her body. Her home was no better, a crumbling shack with a roof that leaked whenever the sky wept and windows so broken that the cold wind mocked her at night. Naima had no bed. She slept on the bare floor, curled up like a starving cat, trying to keep warm. Every night, she whispered prayers for a better life, but every morning, she woke up to the same struggle. She did everything to survive, fetching water for villagers, washing their clothes, even working on their farms, but no matter how hard she toiled, her hands always returned empty. It was as if the world had turned its back on her. The women she grew up with were all married, living comfortably with their families. They wore fine clothes, their children laughing and playing around them. But Naima, she had no husband, no child, no one to call her own. The villagers whispered behind her back. "She's cursed," they said. "Born with bad luck." Even the men kept their distance, fearing her misfortune would rub off on them. Naima's life was a tale of sorrow. She walked through the village like a shadow, unnoticed, unloved, unwanted. Yet despite it all, she carried on, hoping that one day the sun would shine brighter on her life. But that day had not come. Not yet. One sweltering afternoon, Naima carried her bundle of tattered clothes to the river. The sun blazed fiercely, and the water sparkled like melted silver. She knelt by the riverbank, scrubbing her rags with hands as rough as the village roads. The sound of rushing water was the only comfort she had. But as she washed, she heard soft footsteps behind her. She turned quickly, her heart skipping like a frightened bird. There, standing tall and proud, was a woman dressed in clothes so fine they seemed fit for a queen. Her skin glowed, her jewelry sparkled, and her smile was as sharp as a blade. "Good day," the woman said, her voice smooth like honey. Naima blinked, unsure if she was dreaming. "Good day, Ma," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The woman stepped closer. "My name is Zahara. I've been watching you, Naima. I know your struggles." Naima's eyes widened. How did this stranger know her name? Zahara smiled, as if reading her thoughts. "I have a business for you. It's simple, and it will change your life." Naima stared, her mind spinning. What kind of business? Zahara reached into her bag and pulled out a bundle of crisp banknotes. "You will collect used undergarments from the village women. Bring as many as you can. For every load, I will pay you handsomely." Naima's jaw dropped. "Undergarments?" she asked, confusion thick in her voice. "Yes," Zahara said firmly. "Don't ask questions. Just do as I say, and you'll never be poor again." With that, she handed Naima the money and turned to leave. "Remember," Zahara said, her voice almost a whisper, "I'll be waiting." Naima sat by the river, clutching the money, her mind clouded with questions. What kind of business was this? Why undergarments? She didn't understand. But the weight of the money in her hands was real. And for the first time in her life, hope stirred in her chest. That night, Naima lay awake, turning the offer over in her mind. By morning, she had made a decision. She knew the villagers might grow suspicious if she asked for only undergarments, so she came up with a plan. With Zahara's money, she went to the market and bought colorful buckets and bowls, big and small, each one shining under the morning sun. She returned to the village and knocked on the first door. An old woman opened it, her eyes narrowing at Naima. "Good morning, Mama," Naima greeted, holding up a bright blue bucket. "I'm exchanging these for any old clothes, shoes, or undergarments you no longer need." The old woman grunted. "Old clothes, shoes, underwear." She shook her head. "What kind of business is that?" "It's for a new venture," Naima said, her voice steady. "If you have anything you're not using, I'll trade you for this fine bucket." The old woman's eyes lit up at the sight of the bucket. Without hesitation, she went inside and returned with a pile of old clothes and shoes, topped with a few worn-out undergarments. Naima smiled. "Thank you, Mama." At each house, it was the same. The villagers eagerly handed over their unwanted items in exchange for Naima's shiny buckets and bowls. By the end of the day, her sack was full, bulging with clothes, shoes, and most importantly, undergarments. That night, Naima sat in her hut, carefully sorting through her collection. She separated the undergarments and placed them in a special sack. The rest of the clothes and shoes? She burned them in a hidden spot near the river. The flames crackled, eating up the evidence. Naima watched, her face glowing in the firelight. The next day, she delivered the sack to Zahara by the river. "You've done well," Zahara said, her voice smooth as silk. She handed Naima a thick bundle of money. Naima's heart raced as she clutched the payment. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling hope rise in her chest. Zahara's smile sharpened. "Keep working, Naima. Your life is about to change." And so, Naima's trade continued. Each day brought her closer to a life she had never imagined possible. But while the villagers remained clueless about the dark secret behind her success, someone had begun to watch. Someone who would soon uncover the terrifying truth. To know what happened to Naima, subscribe to this channel and watch out for part 2.